Reasons for concern for the New Orleans Saints. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is PFF. What are some of the worst case scenarios for the Saints? What are some of the... We always talk about the positives here. You know, when the positives are available, when the negatives are available, we talk about the negatives. We are a fair and balanced channel, no doubt about it. Today, we'll be talking about some of the concerns, some of the problems with the Saints going into the 2024 NFL season. And of course, like I said, PFF is the backdrop, so we'll let them kick it off.
Concern for the New Orleans Saints.
I mean, their quarterback is still Derek Carr.
Y'all hear that lightning and thunder? Straight up storming in New Orleans today. So I'll start. I said I was going to let them start. I changed my mind. I'll start. The reasons for concern is the offensive line is the biggest one. The offensive line is bad. The offensive line is a problem. The offensive line was addressed a little with Talise Fuaga, but it's going to take some time. All right, it's going to take a little bit of time. Another concern is the pass rush. And these are all just the problems from last year. And that's a good place to start with concern is what was bad last year and will the way you addressed it, will it work? So the way we address the offensive line, Talise Fuaga, moving Trevor Penning to right tackle apparently, will all of that work out? Who's playing left guard? Who the hell knows? Pass rush, how did we address it? Chase Young, reason for concern. Chase Young had neck surgery. How will he be? How will he feel? How will he play? Cam Jordan was hurt last year. What will we get out of him? What kind of development will we get out of Brian Brzee or some of the guys in the middle? So that's a concern, all right? It's always a concern when Dennis Allen's your head coach, but I think having Clint Kubiak in the new offensive staff will help out Clint Kubiak. It's not a concern, but we do have question marks with that offensive staff. We have question marks of, okay, we've heard about the plan. We've heard about the strategy. We've heard about the scheme. Will it work? It's not always guaranteed that every new offensive coordinator is going to be the answer. I think Clint Kubiak will do a great job. I think this offensive staff has been impressive so far. But there is always the chance that they're not. There is always the chance that the hire fails. We see it all the time, right? So that is a concern because if the offense isn't better, if the production isn't there, then what the hell do we do? You know, then do we look at truly rebuilding with some of the players? Do we look at truly offloading some of the contracts, some of the aging players? What does that look like for us? You know, does the roster turn over? So that's a bigger worst case scenario. That's more of a worst case scenario than a concern. I'm not concerned with Clint Kubiak failing per se, but I do think you have to put an asterisk on a totally new coaching staff, a totally new scheme, a totally new strategy, because we don't know yet. You know, we have no idea what results it's going to yield.
I mean, he's good. Derek Carr's good. It's just where's the ceiling there, right? He's in that mid-tier quarterback world where you question what the ceiling is.
That could be an absolute dumpster fire of an offensive line.
Now let me talk about Derek Carr. I don't think Carr is a concern because it's the same as like Kirk Cousins in Atlanta. What you get out of that isn't so much a concern because it's irrelevant to what happens. If Carr is average, he's going to be our starting quarterback, and that's just going to be it, right? There's no if Carr's average, we'll yank him and we'll throw Jake Haener in there. We'll throw Spencer Rattler in there. Like Carr either has to get hurt, or that's probably it for him to actually not be our quarterback. So if you told me Carr's going to be average, I would say, okay, I'm not losing any sleep over that. It's what we're going to get. No big deal. We can still manage a 9-win, 10-win season with an average Derek Carr. Now, Derek Carr, again, he's a 10-year veteran. Kirk Cousins is a big-time veteran. I don't think the floor is very low, which has been my whole thing with the offensive line. When you go sign a 10-year average offensive lineman, you know they're going to be average. They're not going to all of a sudden be horrible. Derek Carr isn't all of a sudden going to be the worst quarterback in the NFL. Kirk Cousins isn't all of a sudden going to be the worst quarterback in the NFL. It doesn't happen like that. You know, when you have a veteran, the floor is pretty low, or the floor is pretty stable, and the ceiling is pretty stable. You're not expecting Derek Carr to go win the MVP, but you also know there's really no risk because Derek Carr is not going to be Bryce Young. He's not going to be one of the worst quarterbacks. So I have zero concern with Carr. I'm giving no thought to what we're going to get out of Derek Carr, or what if he's bad, or what if he's this, or what if he's that. We've already made our bed with that one. He will be the quarterback this year. That's it. Same with Kamara, or same with Chris Olave. I'm not concerned that Alvin Kamara is all of a sudden going to be a 2.7 yards per carry fumble machine. I pretty much know what I'm going to get out of Kamara. I'm not concerned with Demario Davis. I'm not concerned with Marshawn Lattimore. I know what I'm going to get out of these guys because they do it every single year. And for the most part, Derek Carr does what he does every single year. He did it last year. If you look at his numbers last year, they're all right. They're okay. If you look at that season, you look at the stats, you look at all that, and you say, you can't say, well, that's a horrible season. The results weren't there, but wins and losses are on such a razor's edge. But Carr wasn't awful. You could argue that that's probably the least you'll get out of Carr is what we got from him last year. And that's nowhere near the bottom of the NFL. So I think if you say Carr, I think that's I don't agree with that one.
That's the concern, right? If Ryan Ramczyk really is not healthy enough.
If he retires, apparently they've flipped Fuaga to left tackle and Penning to right tackle so far in minicamps. If that's what they run with, number one, Penning hasn't shown anything so far to say he's going to be good at any spot. Fuaga playing left tackle instead of right tackle, it's at least adding an element of potential risk that usually isn't the problem, and I don't have an issue with it as a concept. But
yeah, I agree. The offensive line does have a chance. Now, the offensive line is the opposite of Carr, right? The offensive line, we don't know. The floor is at the Earth's core. The floor is so far down, it's up, all right? Talise Fuaga, we like him. We acknowledge the tribal chief. He's Oos, no doubt about it. But there is a chance. We've never seen him play in the NFL. So there is a chance he'll be a first-round bust. There is that chance he could be the next Trevor Penning. No hate. And if that's the case, because right now I think we would all agree who's our best offensive lineman. A lot of people would say Talise Fuaga, which goes to show how bad our offensive line is when we're willing to say our best offensive lineman is a guy we've never seen play in the NFL, right? So there is a chance that we go into the season, and for most of the season, we have the worst offensive line in the NFL. Now, I do think the offense, the style that we have offensively, does take some pressure off of the offensive line, but I would be a fool to sit here and say it's no big deal to have the worst offensive line in football. If we have the 20th offensive line, if we have the 21st offensive line, the 17th, okay. We can be below average. You can win with a below average offensive line. We see it all the time. A la the Houston Texans last year. A la the Cincinnati Bengals when they went to the Super Bowl. You can have a below average offensive line. I'm not sure you can have the dead bottom, rock bottom, 32 offensive line. I don't think that can happen. So we need average to below average out of that offensive line. And absolutely, if Penning doesn't take at right tackle, if moving to left tackle messes up Fuaga, who the hell knows what's going to happen at left guard? Saldiveri, I guess. I was reading something the other day about how he's changed his diet up. He's losing weight. He's nutritionally dense. Whatever. Sounds good to me. It's never wrong to be strong. But the offensive line is, no doubt, the major concern and absolutely could be a disaster. Because it's the NFL. You have to protect the quarterback. You've got to be able to hold up against some serious pass rush. And if we are that bad, it's not going to be good. Flip side of that is we kind of sort of, with risk and with unknowns, there is potential. Sounds like a very Confucius, kind of a fortune cookie situation. We don't know what we're going to get out of Trevor Penning at right tackle. We don't know what we're going to get out of Talise Fuaga at left tackle. We don't know what we're going to get out of Nick Saldiveri once he leaves the Ruby Tuesday salad bar at left guard. We don't even know if he'll be the left guard. We don't know what we're going to get out of Ryan Ramczyk, right? So let's say Fuaga is a A+ best offensive lineman in the draft. Okay, all of a sudden, the potential for our offensive line is increasing dramatically. Let's say Trevor Penning's new start at right tackle is a total resurgence, like a phoenix from the ashes, like a phoenix from the ashes. What if all of a sudden Trevor Penning is good? Now, hold on a second. Now we've got our cornerstones, 2 first-round picks, playing lights out at left tackle and lights out at right tackle. All of a sudden, now we go from the worst possible situation, number 32 offensive line, to, damn, do we have a pretty good offensive line? And damn, do we have the most important parts of that offensive line set for the next 8 to 10 years? So it's a very, swingy conversation with this offensive line. I'm excited to see what happens, but if you told me if you told me that Penning and Fuaga were all pros at the end of the season, I'd believe you. If you told me that Penning and Fuaga are not even on the field at the end of the season, I'd believe you. Anything is up in the air with the offensive line.
It's just adding to the pressure on him to play well, and then even if he does, that might be 1/2 of an offensive line okay, and the rest of it is not good.
Yeah, and then so I think the offensive line, if they're going to show improvement from last year, there are some questions there. Defensively, some of their additions, high upside type of additions like Willie Gay, Chase Young. We know what Chase Young is capable of being.
Yeah.
He hasn't really been that for a few years now or ever. Willie Gay, I'm always intrigued by his speed.
Yeah, apparently from what I'm hearing, and again, everything's going to be positive about OTAs right now, but what I'm hearing is Willie Gay looks really good. So, and Chase Young, for what it's worth, he has been good. We have seen it. It's just been kind of sporadic. Like last year, he showed signs. I mean, in the Super Bowl, he was good. So has he put it all together in one stretch in a season? I guess you could say no, but when he's out there, he has shown that he can be good, which is something we did not get at all from our pass rush last year.
In playmaking, but there's also a lot of plays where he's out of position, especially in the run game. So I think some of those offseason additions for a team that's had to lose a lot of talent the last couple of years, they're asking a lot of guys like Willie Gay, Chase Young to step up and make some big plays for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're high risk, high reward. I mean, we're asking a lot, like he said, out of question mark players. We're asking if you really think about who are the swing players? Who are the players that really could push this positively for the Saints? It would be Trevor Penning. It would be Talise Fuaga. It would be Willie Gay. It would be Chase Young. Those are 4 players that are complete unknown variables. Have no clue what we're going to get. So the Saints are a mystery. Downside, I think the downside is if all those players don't work out, we get close to the production we got last year, probably better offensively because of Carr's second year, because Clint Kubiak over Pete Carmichael. So offensively we'll probably be better, and defensively we'll be all right. So I'd say that's why I think that at the low end, it's like a 7-win team. At the low end, you're probably looking at, if all of our variables go poorly, you're probably looking at that 6-7 win, somewhere in there. If the variables work out, if Penning is good and Fuaga is good and Gay is good and Chase Young is productive, if all that's happening, that is how you push to a 9-win, 10-win season. But per usual, I don't think the Saints are in any danger of being the worst team in the NFL.
And they're inconsistent.
Yeah, a lot of inconsistent.
The line is the biggest one.
Yeah, for sure.
The line is definitely the biggest one, I think.
Yeah.
There's absolutely that. If Ryan Ramczyk retires, that offensive line could very quickly completely unspool.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. Not the Ramczyk part. Ryan Ramczyk's not going to play, but I agree that it could quickly unspool. It could quickly be a really bad situation. As quick, and it kind of all does lean on Fuaga and Penning, because if those two can't figure it out, whether it's because Fuaga's first year or he's trying a new position or whatever, Penning is just, the development isn't there. If those two unravel, the rest of the line is going to fall apart quickly. If Penning and Fuaga are good and we're having problems at left guard, you can survive having a problem at left guard, but you cannot have a problem at left tackle, right tackle, and left guard. Can't have that. We're already up against it offensive line-wise.
Let's go Tampa Bay Bucks.
All right, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, what is your biggest concern for the New Orleans Saints going into the 2024 season? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there replying. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate that, and I will see you in the next video.